Welcome back, my name is LastKnownMeal, and today, finally, we are going to review Netflix The Witcher Season 1. After months of waiting for this to drop, after so many videos of just talking about the show, after all of those roller coaster of emotions people went through from the first moment this show was announced until today, I came into this show with an open mind. I said, let's see what they have for us, and then I'm going to give you my final verdict if I like the show or not. So I watched every single episode. I binged watched this as soon as it came out so I can deliver this video as fast as I can. I went through all of the key points of the show, from cinematography to acting to editing to production design and all of that stuff, which I'm going to talk about. But overall, do I like the show? Yes, I love it. The show is amazing, especially the first episode. Now, they are going through some things very fast, but it's understandable because this first season is definitely an introductory season to all the major characters, including Cirilla, Yennefer, and Geralt. Every single one of them did a masterful job of portraying those characters. Honestly, every single one of them. Now, the biggest congratulations to all of them definitely goes to Henry Cavill, who is portraying Geralt of Rivia. He really wanted this role. He wanted to be Geralt of Rivia. He played throughout the games, later he read the books, and he is a huge fan of that universe. And I am so glad that he was selected to be Geralt of Rivia, because at first I was kind of skeptical if he's going to do a good job, because at first I was like, is this the Hollywood choice or is he definitely for this show? And for the end, he proved me wrong. He is an amazing Geralt of Rivia. He went into a character really well, especially because I did not expect from him to go so deep into the character, but the way he portrays Geralt of Rivia is simply stunning and amazing, and that is exactly something we want from that character. Also, Yennefer and Cirilla, amazing acting. In some of those scenes, they were really emotional, and I like that the show is extremely brutal. I mean, the fighting choreography is amazing. Like, when the first time when they actually start fighting, like real fight, I was like, whoa. Because some of those moves and some of those, things that happen in those fights are extremely brutal and so well done. Especially because the sound design in the back is covering all of that. As I said before, good editing in a fighting scene is crucial, as well as the choreography. And Mr. Furdik, who was responsible for fighting choreography, did a masterful job. Henry especially, because he was wielding that sword like a true Witcher. It's not an easy thing to do, especially if you never held a sword in your life. Number one, it's heavy. Number two, it's really hard to master. And I think he did an amazing job on that. Writing-wise and story-wise, I think some dialogue moments are a bit slow. Especially in some parts of the season. I think they could have been different in a sense, but overall, it's not standing out. I think every element of the show, from production design to costume design. Now, regarding Nilfgaardian armors, I still don't like them. And as I was watching through the first season, and when Nilfgaard comes and all of that happens, and I can't wait to see what they have for us in the future regarding their armors. I mean, it wasn't really standing out that much, but at the same time, when you have a questionable design, when you have all of those things before the season dropped, all of that controversy around the armor and everything, it's a bit difficult to watch the Nilfgaardians with a straight face. But in a sense, their armor is going to change in the future. That's something they promised. But overall, besides that, the show is really well done. The reason why I say that is because it's really hard to portray this world of The Witcher in a TV series, especially with the budget they had. Now, obviously, they had a huge budget, don't get me wrong. They had an insane budget, and you can see that. Now, in some areas, you could see that the CGI is not the best, but it's understandable for a show. Keep in mind, films have a much higher budget for CGI. That's why all the Marvel films you're watching have this amazing, out of this world CGI because of the people they employ and the money they have. Here, I'm not saying that CGI is bad. It's not. It's used where it's supposed to be used, and I'm so glad they didn't go over the top with CGI, especially regarding the monsters. And fighting those monsters is so cool. There are moments in the season 1 with Renfrey, for example, which I'm not going to go into, but this entire story about Renfrey is really well portrayed, especially because of the emotions they portray in each scene. Regarding Cyrilla and Yennefer, I really like how they show the background of Yennefer, of her growing up, of her going into Aretuza, and she has a really huge, like enormous character change from the first time you see Yennefer, and then at the end when, you know, she becomes this sorceress and everything that happens in the show. Her character is really well put. I think the actress did an amazing job on portraying that character, not just from this, hey, I'm a sorceress kind of a side, but also I'm human, I have emotions, and they're believable in a sense. Obviously, every single one of those characters has their own things, how they portray the world, what they want for themselves, how they see other people, and there is a reasoning behind it. And it's so well put that you kinda understand everything that they go through. You understand why this character is evil or why this character is good, and how it's impossible to be good or bad in the world of The Witcher. You can be in between. You have to balance those two sides. So there is no ultimate evil or ultimate good. And I'm glad they're portraying that. I like the journey each character goes through, because in the later seasons, everything is going to expand. Obviously, people have been tweeting me straight away, why did they do it this way? Why is it so fast in some areas? Well, mostly because some of those characters that you think are going to be really important, at the end of the day, they are kind of a side characters to give you the upcoming story of the Witcher saga. And I think they blended the short stories and the saga really well, especially for this first season. Keep in mind, there is a number, like a limited number of episodes they can produce each year, and I believe in each one of these episodes they showed us something which is, which can continue onto the later seasons. This, character arcs are still not done, they're far from being done, but the changes they just go through the first season are enormous and really well portrayed. Cinematography wise, the show is astonishing. Of course, you had Alex Acaro working on this, who was the man behind The Sopranos. He is an amazing cinematographer, he is an amazing director. Each director here, you could actually definitely see that it was directed by different people, and that's something which always happens when you are producing series in general. You will have more directors working on different episodes. Every single one of these directors really showcase the world of The Witcher in the most positive light, in a good way. And as I said, they showcase all the beautiful sides of the Witcher world, but they also showcase all of those bad, ugly, disgusting sides of this universe and how bloody it can be. And because they're not aiming for fantasy here, this is more horror rather than a fantasy, and I'm glad that it is, because each monster is terrifying. Each situation that Geralt finds himself in, or Yennefer or Cyrilla, those situations mean either life or death. And they are portrayed in such a realistic way that you can actually immerse yourself into this world easily and get lost in it. And now I just want the season 2, I want this to continue. Because as I said before, I came into this show with an open mind. I could completely dislike it, I could like it, and at the end, I did. And I want to see how they extend this show. Obviously, in the season 1, you have a limited budget. It is a huge budget, but it's a limited budget. If your show succeeds, the later seasons will usually receive more money. And that's something I want to see. I want to see how far they will take this show into the future. Because right now they captured something really good, but I want to see how well this thing is going to hold in the future. Regarding dialogue, regarding the writing, as I said, there are some scenes that go really fast. There are some dialogue lines that are a bit slow, and I believe some of those dialogue options can be unnecessary at times, but they are well written. They are not cringy, and that's something I was really afraid of, that the writing is going to be cringy. It's not. The lines usually are really well delivered. They make sense. They really involve you into the show, for a sense that you have to think about, okay, why is this happening? What can happen? Especially if you don't know anything about the Witcher world. This is definitely a new experience for them. Regarding Game of Thrones, because I know there's gonna be questions, is it like Game of Thrones? It's not. It's not. It's a different show. If I was to compare it to Game of Thrones, two completely different shows. Not everything which is set in medieval fantasy, whatever, is Game of Thrones. It's not. And I believe this show does have a bright future, especially because Netflix needs this right now. There is a streaming war going on. You have Disney Plus, you have HBO, you have Amazon Prime, you have Netflix, and they're all fighting for this, streaming war that is going right now. And I think Netflix is pushing everything they have to create a show which is going to continue for at least 10 years, which is going to glue people to their subscription service. And I'm glad that they're taking this seriously, and I'm glad that they decided to go with the Witcher world, because you can create something huge out of this. You can. It's possible. Especially how you portray it in the later seasons, because there are many things which are going to happen in the later seasons that are going to be far worse and far more brutal than the things you've seen in the first one. Also, one more thing, the soundtrack, it's good. I was really afraid of the soundtrack and how it's going to sound, and if it's going to really capture that, Witcher feeling, that we got used to. They did. The music in the show is incredible. It definitely captures the world. It's not too much, it's not too little. It's there when you need it, and it can be really emotional and really action-packed from time to time. So I'm glad that they decided to go with this soundtrack, and it's definitely a huge success. So every element in this show fits. It doesn't stand out, and that's what's the most important thing about this. If you have all the elements in one place, you can end up with a good show. Again, this is just the first season. I want to see how they expand in the future. Now, for the end also, I am making a spoilery review of The Witcher, but I still have to go through the season 1 again to give you that video, so you'll have to wait a bit for it. But again, you have to watch it first. I don't want to spoil anything, but that's it. This is my review for The Witcher Season 1. Hopefully I didn't spoil anything. I really tried to keep this spoiler free and give you a general idea and sense of what I think about the show, the atmosphere of the show, because it captured it really well. The atmosphere is amazing, and combined with great cinematography, it can only be a huge plus. One character I particularly like is Stregobor. He's amazing. Just his portrayal of a character, and this turn you see is, I can't spoil anything, but you'll see it for yourself if you haven't already. And as I said, that's it. Tell me down below, do you like the show? Do you dislike the show? What do you think about this? Also, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button, because I will be putting out more Netflix The Witcher content in the future. A lot of content, actually, because we have a lot to analyze in this first season. And that's it. This is LKM signing out. Stay classy, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.